I'm about to head out on a run, but I wanted to take a second to talk about my current favorite piece of gear that I own. It's also the piece of gear that I got the most questions about when I was on the Appalachian Trail.
Hi, my name is Megan. Join me as we explore new places together, hike some trails, and enjoy this adventure outdoors.
Up until the end of 2023, I was using my Apple Watch that my sister had gifted me, and it worked amazing for day-to-day activities and for quick runs, but I never brought it along on longer hikes or even backpacking trips because the battery life was just not what I needed it to be. But I was going caving towards the end of 2023, and I was going through this very, very narrow spot that we had to crawl. And I remember I lifted my hands up very suddenly and smacked it on the cave wall and shattered the screen of my Apple Watch. So thus the death of my Apple Watch, and I began the process of looking for something to replace it with. And battery life was something that was very important to me. So when I started looking, I came across Coros, and that is the watch that I'm currently wearing and have been wearing since I purchased it in January of 2024. I feel like I need to go ahead and say this. Coros is not giving me anything for this video. They're not sponsoring this video. I am just making this out of my genuine love for this watch and their product after 2 years of using it. And I do think that it is the perfect watch for fellow adventurers, especially if you're trying to GPS track your activities and your hikes and your long runs and your ultra marathons and your backpacking trips and really whatever. It also is waterproof up to, I'd have to look it up, but I think it's 50 meters. So you can take it surfing or snorkeling or I don't know. I don't really do much water activities, but I think you get the point. It is a great adventure watch. I wear the Coros Pace 3 specifically with the silicone band, and it gets 38 hours of battery life while I'm using GPS, which when I was out on trail, that meant every 3 days or so, I needed to charge my watch. So one time typically from my power bank, and then I would charge it when I would get into town, and that would hold me over. So I wasn't really ever worried about it from that aspect. Coros has its own adventure center. I don't know, I'm sure they call it something else, but it's basically a portal where you can pull up all of your stats and see how much you hiked for the day, how many calories you burned. Obviously it's not going to be exact, but it's pretty close. Your elevation that you gained, and I put that at the end of all of my videos. So everything that you saw there, I was pulling from the Coros app, and that happens when I got good enough service to load it. The map, also it creates a map after your activity, and you do have to have decent service. I don't know the logistics of how all of this works, but you needed better service to load the map than you did the stats. And pretty much the service I had on the Appalachian Trail, I could get the stats up at the end of every day, but I could not always get the map to load. So technology beyond my understanding. But I will say it was the perfect watch for me on trail, and now I am going to go get a run in. So I'll bring you along and kind of show you how you get an activity started and what that looks like. I am heading over to the park now. It's about a 20-minute walk to get over there, and then I will start my watch once I get there because the activity that I want to do is running. You can do a multi-sport activity, so I could go walk, run, and even add in a bike if I wanted to, but today I just want to track the run. I'm currently trying to build back up my endurance, especially when it comes to running. So I'm doing 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, twice a week. And I just started this week, so brand new, and my body is definitely feeling it. It is not used to running at all. Very different from hiking. All right, we made it. I'm just pressing the top button here to start my activity, which is running So I just press start, and then I've got to wait here for a second for it to connect to the GPS. Otherwise I'll start running and it won't really track that section. But once it's connected, I can press the button again and actually start running. This park is so beautiful. Please ignore the sweaty glow. But after you finish your activity, this is what it'll show, a little GPS track of what you just did, total mileage, and then down at the bottom for the run, it shows me how long I ran, and then my time per mile. But on a hike, instead of time per mile, I think it shows me my elevation. My goodness, I am a sweaty mess. Please disregard. But I think I paid about $250 for this watch specifically. I'll put the total up on the screen and then kind of scroll down and show you some of the specs for this model in case you're interested. But Coros is constantly innovating and releasing newer technology, and that's exactly why I would not buy this watch again. As amazing as the battery life is, I've got my eyes set on the Coros Apex 2 Pro because I think that has 70 hours of GPS use battery life, which is insane, while keeping the not super clunky design, which I really like. It feels really lightweight on my arm. That is what we love to see. Another feature I love about this watch is that it'll show me how well I slept the night before. And really this was important for me on trail to see how much I was waking up during the night and how much sleep I was actually getting. It'll show your REM state, your deep sleep, your light sleep, and the total amount of sleep you got. Thanks for coming along with me on a run today, and I hope you found this information useful. If you have questions about this watch specifically, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below, and I will try to answer what I can. There are a lot of other features that I did not show, such as mapping out your route and whatnot, but I personally did not use those on the AT and haven't really used them at all because I also use Strava and Coros connects with Strava. So I don't use all of the features of the Coros app, but if you have Coros specific questions about this watch, I would be happy to answer them, or I'm sure other Coros wearers would be happy to answer them as well. But again, hope you found this inspiring or educational in some way, and I will see you all again very soon for another great day of hiking.